welcome to the June 14th, 2022 koha-US sysadmin special interest group. I feel like I need to write that out because every time I have to really concentrate. I'm Lizette Shear. I'm the chair until I leave this meeting because I'm not going to be working in Latah County Library District anymore after tomorrow. So I think, well, Jason made the agenda and sent out the link, so I don't know if that means Jason's going to be the new chair or if someone else would like to volunteer to be the chair. It really is just making the agenda.
Jason is filling in, so I would love you all to consider taking over. Yes, Lizette, tell them what's involved.
Yeah, it's making an agenda, and if you've seen our agendas, they're basically reports, bugs, issues, whatever else we want to talk about. And usually I just fill it out as we go, unless someone emails me that they have a report. Preferably, you would send an email out a week in advance that there is a meeting and asking for agenda items. I'm really bad at that, so I haven't been doing that. But it is something I know it would be helpful if the new chair did. And then just running the meetings, which is pretty easy. I mean, mostly it's just talking and running the agenda and making sure that it's recording and keeping an eye on the chat. So if anyone is interested in being the sysadmin chair, it's a great way to be involved in koha-US without being on the board, which is still not that much additional responsibility, but it's like a first step, a way to be involved without having to do a lot more time, especially if you're already coming to the meetings. So is anyone who's here today interested? Okay, no takers yet. Maybe Jason can also bug people at the next general meeting about it, since I won't be there. So does anyone have any reports they'd like to talk about? Okay, I don't have any reports this time because I've been working on other things, like writing every procedure down. Does anyone have any particular bugs they would like to discuss? Okay. Seems like a no. I see there's a text to email replies. How do you deal with them issue? Is that from you, Jason?
Yes, I put that on there. I was wondering how people deal with those. So right now we're using text to email as our email driver. So if a patron responds back to those emails, it comes back to the library's email, but you don't know who it is because it's just the number at whatever, vtext or whatever. So then you have to go back in to go on, look up who it is. And sometimes that number is associated with multiple patrons. So you have to spend a lot of time researching who actually replied to the message. So I just wondered if anybody had any good strategies for cutting down on that, the amount of research that takes.
Honestly, I think we just email back a short message that says please
What's
call the library with your questions.
Oh, okay.
Because we don't usually, our print notice or our email notices say this email, it is monitored, but we say please don't reply to this email. If you have questions, please give us a call, because it's not monitored regularly. They don't go in every day and check it. They go in probably average about once a week and check the bounce backs, basically. Maybe more frequently if they've noticed we're having more issues. So I think that's just kind of our way to do that on text messages. If someone responds, is to just reply with a short, please call the library with any questions you have. So that's pretty much how we do them. I think I also have a tool a report that I wrote. Let me check that. Our person who does that can put because the SMS number is not searchable by default. So I
Right.
think I wrote a report where they could put it in and it would bring back anybody who had that as their SMS number. When we
Yeah.
were, especially because when we first started, we were having a lot of bounce backs where people told us that they had AT&T, but their text to email address was actually through Verizon for some reason or whatever. Um, and I think that just helps save time because she can just copy and paste the number part in, um, even if they don't have the same primary number.
And I did implement something like that too. On the patron search page, I have a little search box that runs a report that searches all the phone number fields and then brings back every account with those phone numbers in it. But it's still not the best solution. So it's still costing a lot of staff time, I guess. So I was
Yeah.
trying to think like if I could add like card number to the text message, that might work, but I don't know if that creates privacy concerns. And it takes up,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of space in those text messages, so it takes up space.
Maybe borrower number instead of card number. It's a shorter number.
Yeah,
Or even
unless I
message
didn't
ID.
title. If I put borrower number, then they could search that because that is indexed in the patient search. So that might
Yeah.
be, I'll have to think about that.
You'll have to figure out how to do it though that the oh, you could maybe do it in the subject because you have to put something in the subject field and then it'll probably just look to the patron like it's a like I don't even see the subject anymore on the texts I get. Um, but then it would be in the subject reply, I think. So you could
Can,
maybe text it with that.
can you put like database fields in the subjects of messages?
I think so. I feel like that was added in 2105. Because I remember reading about it. Um, but I might be remembering entirely incorrectly. So I'm just going to check the 2105 release notes real quick. Maybe Heather wants to be the new sysadmin chair.
Look, she turned on her camera. That's a yes.
Yep, I
I'll write
agree.
you down. One
Heather, you
stick is
missed the part where
enough,
we were
huh?
talking about it, but tomorrow's my last day at the Latah County Library District. So we need a new sysadmin chair.
I don't think Heather's okay with this.
I
You might need
know.
to reconsider.
I'm going to the University of Idaho to work on website stuff. Web coordinator. Yeah. No, Heather, don't fall. You'll get a concussion. And it really sucks.
Boy, I missed a couple of meetings and
You got
Yep.
nominated to take over one, so yeah.
well, good grief, there has to be ways to keep in touch.
Oh yeah. Well, and I changed my Bugzilla account to my new email or to an email that's mine and made a new one for whoever replaces me at Latah County. And that's not copied on quite as many bugs because I'm copied on enough bugs that they don't all show on one search anymore. And so I can also send people my that email, if they would like to keep in touch.
Yes, please.
So I will do that. I don't want to put it in the chat or say it out loud here because then it's gonna dox me, but I can send it to anyone who wants via email or in the Slack if you're in Slack. Are you in Slack, Heather?
Yeah, I'll make a point to check it. I don't check it super often, but I will make a point to check it because we need to keep up with not only, like the information tech, geeky, nerdy stuff that we enjoy, but I mean, books and crafting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I'll be sad to miss the conference. I was really hoping to make that work so I could still go, but I just don't think I will be able to.
Come virtually. Join us.
Well, maybe it'll probably depend on how busy my work is, and if it's something that I could at least like put on virtually, and listen when I can. But since I haven't started yet, I don't really know. Let's see. I'm just checking the notices. Yeah, because I thought that there was a way now. I thought that now you might just have to test it. But I did think that they'd added it at some point fairly recently that you could put things in the subject as well. Because I remember reading about it and thinking, oh, that might be fun for like new patron emails.
Yeah.
Put like the first name field, like, hi Jason, welcome to the, or Jason, welcome to the Latah County Library District in the email subject to kind of make it pop. So that might be
I'll look into that.
an option. Already on to additional topics, 2111 upgrades. Our test server upgraded. We're upgrading on the 23rd, I think. Yeah, the night of the 23rd, although Valnet will be updating on the night of the 23rd. Our test server mostly, I had to update some of the jQuery, like a couple things where names changed, or were added, where before there was not a name, or where a column was added somewhere that we were using or whatever. But not a whole lot changed. Excited about when you search patrons now, it'll highlight patrons that have the same library as your logged in library, which is nice. You can resolve claims from check-in now and set their status, which is also very nice because that's been kind of a not like an issue, but something that can pretty easily be missed because it looked very similar to the like item was lost, now found. I see, so the upgrade webinars are next week. That's very nice too. Last time we upgraded, the early adopters upgraded like 2 full weeks before the webinars. And now the early adopters start the same week as the webinars. And ours aren't until after the webinars. So we have some staff that'll be really happy about that. Jason also put a link to the upgrade hub, which is just a great, it's got the lists, information about the webinars, bugs that they've pulled out, links to blog posts that they are writing or have written about specific pages or like specific parts of the update. There is apparently a local copy.
Yeah, so I put that in there because that's something that I found broken on my test server. So we're a consortium. So on our catalog, we have that jQuery in there that kind of collapses down the holdings and then tells you if a local copy is available. And then you can click on the heading of the column or of the table cell, and it'll expand out to show you all the copies. But the upgrade added a class in that table cell that broke the jQuery. And then I found that other things weren't really working right. It was actually creating some broken HTML because it was appending a list item without putting it inside of a UL element. So I kind of rewrote everything a little bit, and I think it works a little better and displays a little nicer now. So the link in the agenda is to the jQuery wiki on that.
I hadn't been using that, but now I'm putting it in my test server to see what it looks like because
Oh yeah, and I can show my screen if everybody wants to see that. see. I'll just do my whole. Oh no, my desktop is
Ooh, that looks
there.
very nice.
Don't.
Ooh,
It's
also,
big.
I like your icons.
Oh yeah, that's something else I was working on. I can show you that too. But let's start here. Going to the search. So after the upgrade, this is the element that got a new class that broke. So wasn't like hot linked anymore because the jQuery added some collapsey magic here. So you couldn't click on it and expand in and out. So that I fixed that, and then how many local copies showing here? Let me filter down to my library. So so if there's a local copy, it pulls the copy out of the list and then puts it down here under a local copies heading. If there isn't a local copy, then it puts in the no local copies heading, and you can still kind of pop in and out. So what I did was add some extra classes so that, because when I cleaned up the HTML, it put this in a UL, and the original code was just hiding all the ULs. So it would like toggle it on and off. So I added some classes to this so that it doesn't get toggled off when you expand and collapse. It does still get a little wonky if I have a button up here that does like expands everything and the headings get off from each other, but generally that doesn't get used. So that's what that little bit of code does. And if you were using the old code, it will break after your upgrade.
I think the button option though is really nice for people who have mobility issues, like on a phone for tapping. That button, being an isolated button, would be kind of easier to get and tap than the little
Yeah.
line. Yeah, so it's a good option, I think.
Yeah, and there's jQuery. That's a separate jQuery thing in the library, and it probably needs updated too to work with this. But it's a fairly straightforward fix. So that's that. And then my icons I've been working on, I wrote some jQuery to replace the existing images with some external images. And I just, I drew all these up to match our current existing collection codes. And then I've been working on making it light up when you check a box for
Oh, that's cool.
some nice UX.
Oh, nice.
So you can tell that it's pulling from a remote server because there's a lag between when you click and when the color changes. So I think the next step I don't have it set up right now where you can upload files to the koha server and reference them. But I know that's a possibility because SEKLS does that. So if you use the file upload tool within koha, and I assume if I upload these directly to the server, then it's not going to have that sort of lag because it doesn't have to go out and grab the images.
Yeah. That's pretty nice.
Thanks.
Is that in the library also?
It is not. I'm still kind of working on it. So there might be something in there. I didn't look. I just recklessly charged forward. I know George does something a little different on his catalog. He was showing that at a different meeting. So we go to their advanced search. He's got some different icons pulling in for like his video games and stuff. But I looked at his code and it's not the same because he is referencing things that are already on his server. But I think that the code that I wrote can probably be adapted fairly easily. I can show what that looks like. Maybe. So this is checking to make sure you're on the advanced search page, and then it's going through and saying, it's hard to target what's on that page because they don't have a lot of IDs. So these are actually the checkboxes, and I'm saying grab the next element and then grab the child. That's an image, which is the current icon. And then I'm replacing the source for that icon with
this, your GitLab source.
yeah, where the images are stored. And then down here is the part that swaps things, swaps the two images out. So my images are like AB for adult books and then AB2 for the green version.
Yeah.
So this code is just saying
If it's
append,
selected.
yeah, append the two if it's checked. If not, take the two away. So that enables the toggle. So I think if I get those images uploaded to the server, I just have to change where the URLs here, and it should still work fine.
That's neat. That actually reminded me of some jQuery we have on our test server, which we're going to decide today if it's going to go into the regular server. But, you know, with item type categories, can you see my test server?
Yep.
Okay. With item type categories, it's kind of all or nothing on this screen. And the directors did not like that when we talked about adding it. So I made this button that just, if you selects all the book item types, or deselects them. I haven't actually written the code for movies and audiobooks yet, but just to make it easy for staff to be like, okay, well, we want to search just the books, any books that are called this. And I think we put the audiobooks in. No, I don't know why. Oh, because those are like picture books that have the CD with them.
Oh, yeah.
So I included that, although we haven't like finalized how this is going to be yet. And yes, I also noticed that you have to basically just say like checkbox 1, or I think that first one is checkbox 0.
Yeah.
Which is a little annoying because like that means if we change item types at all, you have to redo the code.
Yes, they move around. Yeah, it's very frustrating. I had that issue too.
Yeah, because these first 4 that are like due same day, 1 day, 7 day, and 14 day, we're working on eliminating those because they don't make sense. And I think they were a holdover from our old system before Koha. And it's not helpful for patrons or staff really. And so we're working on, I think at the meeting I have at 9:30, we're gonna be deciding what we're going to call those now, what we're going to replace those with. So, but I'll have to update the jQuery again before I go. So
That's really nice.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And I showed some of our staff at the circ desk the other day, just like, hey, what do you guys think of this? Do you think this would be helpful? And they were all like, oh, yes, that would be very helpful. So I'm a little surprised I didn't think of it sooner as someone who works on the desk 12 hours a week.
Did your staff members ask for the icons, both June, Lisette, and Jason, or did you guys just implement them?
The picture icons, ours, they already had icons when I started working, so we just make new ones for new people, new item types.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's been on my to-do list forever because ours was like that when I got here, and it's a mix and a mess of all the different available icons. And I wanted to make it cleaner. So
yeah, like we have some that we've made ourselves that are some of them kind of fit in, some of them don't at all. And yes, we were working with our marketing person that we don't have anymore. I mean, we have a new marketing person, but a number of these were made by our old marketing person, and we've been kind of talking about trying to overhaul all of them so they looked similar. But that did not happen yet, and I don't know that anyone else really cares that they look different except for me.
So basically, if I want to make more work for myself, I could take on that project.
Yeah, but there are
Absolutely.
built-in icons too if you don't have any icons that you can use. Like when you're editing an item type, there's an images
Yeah,
section.
and some of the authorized values let you use remote images, but some don't. So like collection code, I couldn't. So I had to, that's why I'm referencing remote images
Yeah.
with the jQuery. But like, I think item types let you put in images, just there's a remote tab when you're picking your picture. So you can,
Yeah, and like that's what a number of these, like this one, the Braille, Lucky Day, these are all ones that are actually stored on our GitHub that we have. And then in the item type when you're editing it. Just do this one. You know, there's no is the default, and then there's these different ones. And CardArt actually had a few added with the update because they only used to have like to hear, I think, but they added like headphones, the locked, this icon, and this icon. And I think that one. So like they added a bunch, and then you can put in a remote image as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I knew about the default icons. I just never implemented them. Just wondering if people actually asked for it, or it sounds like it's pretty much they were using them before you guys
Yeah.
got on board. So okay. Yeah, I don't know how our staff would respond to those icons showing up. They might want to change them or something. Something to put on my back burner, but
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Well, and they seem to be adding more. Like, I think last update, there were also some additional icons added. So I think someone's working on trying to make a wider variety because there's just kind of a basic, like, there's a bunch of different options, but a lot of those options have like specific things that make it difficult with how, you know, like I saw Jason had a library of things. We have like our maker kit, which I think we were able to use a special one of the default items for. But like we made our own book club kit icon because there just wasn't one that made sense, things like that. So also we have kind of a hodgepodge. We've got like item types from different selections, from different options, so they don't all look the same from what's built in, just because of like what was available when we were building it.
yeah, I can show you what mine looks like on my live server and show you why I wanted to change it. So I go to my advanced search, it's just a bunch of different icons from different sets, and they're different sizes too, so the spacing looks weird. But I think it is nice to have for the patron because it gives them a visual of what they're filtering down to. Now, my shelving locations don't have images because I have too many, and my item types don't either because we use those just for circulation, really, so not really a browsing. So I've just got icons on the collection code, which is our smallest subset of authorized values.
Yeah, we use Discovery, so I was just looking at the icons that they have, but I was thinking more of in the line of the staff client, seeing if you know that might make things easier or more complicated depending on how staff feel about it. But it's something to look into eventually. So
Yeah. And I do find, you know, some of our item types don't have item images. The 1 day, 14 day, and 7 day all don't have anything. And I do find that that's more difficult. And I don't know if it's because of the mismatch where some of them do and some of them don't. But I do think that it's nice to be able to have like a visual cue, especially if you're like at the desk and trying to do searches fast and they want specific item types, that I feel like for me it's helpful as a staff member. But you know, different people might probably have different opinions about how helpful it is. And especially if you have to add it after the fact, if it's not like, well, we're already using them, you know, that complicates things too.
yeah, I would turn them on and I think all the staff would just kind of, it'd blow their mind if they started seeing these icons. So I'd have to definitely ease them into it.
Yeah. Oh, I keep thinking of things from the upgrade that are nice. Well, they updated all the date pickers, so they look different. And I feel the ones I've tested work a little bit better. Like it's just smoother, because it's using a more recent, like the library we were using for the old date pickers was just not like super fast comparatively. This is much faster and smoother to use. But also the patron requesting modifications has a new kind of accordion, I think. But also if you, here, let me, oh, I don't have my test patron in anymore. If you are on a patron's screen that has the modifications requested, if you let them request modifications, if you click on the like view patron modifications, it will take you specifically to that patron tab instead of just opening the first patron alphabetically. So that'll be nice. Trying to think of, oh, the item search shows up on the main page now, which is nice because that's a really underutilized feature and people always forget how to get there, even though it's like 2 clicks. But if you're not using it that much, it's nice to be able to be like, oh, it's there. Front and center. So, oh, I did have to tweak the jQuery for making HTML and reports on the reports page work. Jason, I don't know if you're using that.
Yeah, I guess I haven't looked at that yet. I wonder if mine's broken.
And it definitely wasn't broken before the update, but I don't know. It's also possible that, I don't remember now what I had to change on it.
I think mine's still working. Like you're talking about if you put HTML in the notes, rendering that. Yeah.
Okay, so it might have been that there was something that was like not quite right, that when I pasted it back in, it didn't work. Because it definitely is working in the production server. I double checked, but the filter paid transactions is working again, I think, in the new update. We had done some jQuery to fix it. But
I'm excited that the calendar tool in Koha is now using that new date picker as well. So it's no longer confusing that the box that says today is just today because it's a different color. Before it was orange and like closings were orange. So every time somebody would pull it up, they'd be like, but I'm not closed today because it's just like a slightly different shade.
yeah, and now it's like green.
Yeah, it's way
It's
better.
green. Repeatable weekly holidays are yellow. Repeatable holidays yearly are orange. And unique holidays are red. So it's like very, here I can, why am I explaining when I can show you as I'm looking at it? So this is holidays.
Yeah.
Oh, and also it hides unique past entries now on unique ones. So like you don't have to see the whole list of everything forever. It just by default only shows holidays in the future. Also, I don't know why June 20th says it's Labor Day in here, but it's not. But that's okay, because only we see that side, I think.
Yeah.
See those, so. Yeah, that just looks a little nicer. I guess that's a past day. I don't know how that's gonna look. This still looks pretty much the same here. It would be nice if you could copy to specific libraries, not just all libraries.
Yeah, I have that. That's gone. One mistake with that, and it's all over.
I think we have it set up so only super librarians see it. because we don't have the problem with super librarians. We had that problem with some of the school librarians can set their own. And one time, 2 years ago, one of them set the summer and copied to all libraries. And everybody was closed for the summer.
Nice.
Yeah. I was like, sweet. But it was very confusing when we started checking out books that were due in August, in like May. So, yeah, we used to have it that you had to like turn it off if you were doing something. And then when you turned it, and then like turn it off in the jQuery. But then after that happened, because someone happened to go in when we had it turned off for something else, I just said, if they're a super user, and then because we already have some jQuery that's like just for super users or super librarians. So we just added that part to there where it's like, it's hidden unless they have the super user attribute. So, yeah.
I'm also excited about the news tool getting broken apart from the HTML customizations. I think that's
Yes.
a needed change.
Yeah, as they've moved more and more stuff in. So that's very nice. Makes both screens a little bit less busy.
Yeah, and it helps avoid some mistakes that could be bad. We
Yeah.
do allow our libraries to put news out there, so if they pick the wrong thing, then it could break some stuff.
Just trying to look at the upgrade notes real quick because it's like,
Oh, one thing that I'm sort of concerned about is the bulk deletion of holds. You can do that with the checkboxes now. And I currently have to allow everyone to be able to move things around. I don't know if that turns the deletion on and off, but I could see problems coming from that. I may have to disable it for most users.
yeah. If anyone's using course reserves, bibs can be added to the course even if there's not an item now. There's a bunch of acquisition login and stuff that got added that we don't use acquisition, so I don't know how much that makes much of a difference versus like, oh, that's a pretty small potatoes. There's a lot of like cleaning up code I noticed this time where like this isn't used, so why is it getting called on all these pages because we don't use this module anymore or whatever. Some stuff like that.
Do you have anything on changing the account lines again?
I don't think so.
Thank God.
Everything seemed to work fine on the account lines. You know, I made things, I tested, I did payments, I did write-offs. The only thing I haven't tested is the PayPal plugin because we don't have that set up on it's just set up as a sandbox on our test server. Oh, you can use the mark modification template on a single record if you're on that page. I know our catalogers are really excited about that because we've been trying to clean up the series. And so the person who's been doing that project is on the systems committee too, and she was like very hype for that one. There's some stuff there were a bunch of things with article requests if you use those. If you use the return claims, it filters by default to unresolved claims when you click on that tab on the patron screen, which is nice, just reduces the clicks a little bit for staff that's using that. Yeah, most of let's see. There are like 5 fines and fees bugs. One of them are testing. 3 of them have to do with the cash register management function. And one of them just makes the action buttons have more classes, one for each action type. So if you want to hide like a specific action or change how it looks or something, you can. So most of that I think is more about just like making it clearer how things work with the cache management. The display of placing multiple holds during the holds process is improved. That's nice, like if you're checking boxes and placing multiple holds at the same time for one patron, it looks a little bit nicer. Oh, there's a hold reminder messaging preference now on both the staff and patron side, because they added the hold reminder notice that sends like 3 days before a waiting hold expires, I think, or 2 days. I don't remember what the number is. So that's in notices now, so it can be edited. A few more system preferences were converted to news blocks in the OPAC. More breadcrumb cleanup. There's a new main patron record field, main contact method, where you can select like the main method, and it's an authorized category, so you can add different options if you want to. Borrow permissions have been split into edit and delete, which is nice. Or create and edit is one, and then delete is a different one. So if you want someone to be able to like add patrons or edit them, but not to delete them, you can do that now. For us jQuery users, there's a span for patron category type codes now in the patron search results. So if you want to like write some jQuery or even just do some CSS, I guess, you probably don't even need the jQuery. You could just use the CSS to like make those pop differently. Actually, we're going to talk today about maybe setting something up like that for self-registered patrons specifically, to make those pop a little more in the search. Daphne in the chat said if you're using hold reminder, you have to copy from the all libraries to your own library for it to work. So that's good to know. Because I was like, I don't think we've been getting those. Because that was actually added last fall too. But I never got any of them. Even though I'm really bad about picking up my holds on time, because they go on my desk and then I just forget to check them out because they're on my desk already.
I never turned that on. It seemed like there was something missing. We were
the
missing.
reason we didn't turn it on was because there was not an option for patrons to turn it off, but it's part of their bar messaging settings now. So we're planning on turning it on. On the patron screen, messages and notes didn't show in the same field on in the same order on the checkout screen and details screen, and they do now. You can configure which tables get printed on the account summary slip now, which is nice because like we don't really want to show the holds because we have a lot of patrons that max out their holds or place like a ton of holds, and a lot of times they just want to see their fines and checkouts. And so we are looking forward to that. In reports, code mirror custom syntax highlighting for column placeholders, where you do like as whatever, instead of formatting the same as any HTML or anything in quotes. It's gonna format a little bit different now. Oh, and if you're going to the database schema from the reports, it's going to link to the correct version now.
One last click. Yay.
Yeah. And the reports limit drop down is moved a little bit. It's styled differently, and I think it It just like pops more. So, um, the stylizing of the check-in message changed a little bit. Like when there's just like local use, item not checked out. Oh, you'll see items that are like that are in transit to somewhere else on the check-in screen instead of the holding library tab, or instead of the home library tab, it has the holding library and transfer to library. So it'll be, if it's staying where you are, it'll be whatever you are. But if it's transferring somewhere else, you'll see that in the check-in table now. A lot of it was like adding the flat picker date. That's the date thing. Yeah, that's most of it. That just from zooming through the release notes a little bit. I feel like something on the bib holds changed. Oh, yes. If you, I didn't see this when I was going through, but it might have been because I was scrolling too fast. You can reprint a hold or transfer slip from the holds table now on the holds column on the holds tab on the record. So if like the slip got lost or something, or you didn't press the print slip button and you find it later or whatever, I mean, you can check it in again to print the slip, but you can also do it from here, which might be helpful for some people.
I noticed that one, and then I went over to the table settings because I'm like, I want to hide that, and apparently this table isn't in the table settings.
Yeah.
So I can't hide that checkbox column either without jQuery.
Yeah. I feel like that's something that should probably have been either a system preference or a permission.
Yeah, and it might, I don't know if the modify holds permission turns it on and off or not, but I have to have that on right now because if you don't have the top level holds permission set, then people can't do what they need to do. I forget exactly what it was, but there's something screwy with the permissions there, and I know there's a bug out on it, and I don't have that handy. But it's being worked on.
Okay, does anyone have any other stuff about the upgrade or other general sysadmin stuff they'd like to talk about? Oh yeah, so Kristen asked about uploading new cover art in Koha. Not a stupid question. Don't put yourself down. Yes, so for if you want to like I'll just do it for this record. If you're uploading local cover images, like this one doesn't have anything, which is interesting because we get our cover images remotely and they usually show up here. But anyway, just was slow.
Oh, that was something that Barbara pointed out. Like in the OPAC, especially cover images are loading like way slower on
Yeah,
the
I
new
hadn't even
version.
noticed that.
And I don't know if it's a cozy thing or what, but it's like it takes several seconds now.
Yeah, but you can upload an image, edit, upload image. It'll accept GIFs, JPEGs, PNGs, and XPMs. One thing that we have noticed with PNGs is that because we had some that we were taking the background out of, and if you did it in Photoshop and saved it as a PNG, in Koha only, the background was still showing up. Yeah, we went back and forth with Bywater a bunch on it, and then we discovered that if we did it in Canva and removed the background, because we have Canva Pro, that worked.
It's really, really weird.
Yeah.
Um,
And then you just choose the file. Let's see. I don't really have any pictures right now. Here, we'll make it this one of my backgrounds. And then replace existing covers. I don't know why. I think that option is checked because by default because there's not a different local cover image, or maybe because of a system preference. I can't remember if. So now you can see the local cover image and the image from Amazon, which loaded way faster that time, like immediately.
strange.
That's very strange. Okay, and then if I go to edit, upload an image. If I go to add another one, now will it let me? No, it only says, I wonder if that's because of a set-in. That might be a system preference that we don't have turned on. And it's harder if it's like pulling in a record automatically because it'll keep pulling in the cover. But I don't allow multiple images. Yeah, I'm not sure what that. I don't know if it has to do with this. It must have to do with the allow multiple covers, that it's that replace box is checked by default if you can't allow multiple images to be attached. And that you can, if you allow, that's probably is editable, is my guess. So, and if you're using custom, if you have images and you have WordPress, there's a very nice free plugin that works with Koha that can pull images, both local cover images and the other ones, to display in WordPress. Called it's just called Bookshelves, I think. And it works very well. We've been using it on our new website.
Yeah, we're using that on all our part of our ARPA grant was getting new websites for our member libraries if they wanted to. And we put that Bookshelves plugin on all theirs and just feed it a new book report. So like it pulls their 30 newest books. So it's always fresh and alive and they don't have to do any updates, which they did before.
Yeah, and that's what we have on each of our branch pages. We have my computer's a little slow because I'm screen sharing and remoting in. But like these are the new adult and youth books at our branches. But we also have it for our curiosity collection. This is where we discovered the issue with the. Oh no, is it? Okay. Because these were not all taken against a white background. And so it was showing like where they'd erase the background for some reason. And to do local cover images, you just do, I think you have to have a specific field in the report, but maybe not. Maybe you just have to have the biblio number and it can call it.
No, I think you have to join in your images table to make it work.
Well, we can check my report. And they have to be public reports to work with. Nope, this is all we have.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It just has to have the biblio number, but the new, let's see. I think this is the one that we used for new books. We used Jason's lovely trimming to get more ISBNs that worked. And then you have to have the ISBN print rather than the biblio number as the first one. But for local cover images, you do biblio number instead of ISBN. And then title and author get called as part of the alt text if you put those in on the report. So like the alt here is the bedtime itty bitty brain box, or just bedtime, I guess, because that's what the title is. So, but that's a sweet little plugin that's worked really well. And the guy's really responsive, because it didn't used to be able to call local cover images. And when we were building the website, we were like, hey, it would be great if this did it for Koha. This is, how it works, basically. And 2 weeks later, he emailed me and he was like, cool, I added that. It was pretty easy. So if you do end up using that, he's very responsive.